Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be an update on the latest images recently released from the James Webb Space Telescope. It's been a minute since we've caught up with Jimmy, and these images, boys and girls, stunning. Simply stunning. These recent extraordinary images are of the Ring Nebula, a planetary nebula about 2,300 light years from Earth. But gorgeousness aside, what's truly interesting about the Ring Nebula is that we have been watching this nebula not for the last year, or the last 10 years, or even the last 20 years, not even 50 years. We've been watching the Ring Nebula for 250 years. Now, I know you guys think I must be mistaken. Marion can't do math. Sometimes Marion can't do math. But this time, I am not joshing ya. And I bring receipts. Journal entries written by the astronomers themselves more than 200 years ago, notating this nebula. So let's talk gorgeous nebulae and the astronomers from the late 1700s who saw them first. So, first things first, what is a nebula exactly? Well, according to the European Space Agency, a nebula is a collection of gas and dust made from the ejected outer layers of a dying star. Over the course of billions of years, stars burn hydrogen to create energy through fusion, gradually exhausting their supply of the gas. And according to National Geographic, when smaller stars run out of hydrogen, they collapse in on themselves, ejecting their outer layers and leaving behind an ultra-dense and hot core called a white dwarf. And this is what remains after the nebula has formed. The Ring Nebula is basically a glowing orb of material strewn about the cosmos by a star that died 4,000 years ago. And it is thought to be probably the most famous nebula, though for people in the know, this is possibly debatable. It lies in the constellation Lyra, a harp-shaped group of stars that can be best observed in the night sky in August. And it is very, very large, about 1 light year across. So it can be seen by telescopes that have reflectors as small as 8 inches. So basically you can spend $800 on Amazon and see this thing. Or if you're, say, a French astronomer from 1779, yep, that is the year that the Ring Nebula is credited as being discovered. I mean, what were we doing in 1779? I feel like we were knee-deep in the American Revolutionary War. George Washington's making some battle plans. And this guy over here is discovering a nebula. Well, to be honest, that too is a little bit controversial. A lot of sources on the internet list the French astronomer Antoine Darquier de Pellepoix in January 1779 as the one who discovered the Ring Nebula. But I also saw the date of his discovery listed as February 1779. So that point seems a little bit debatable. And Charles Messier, another astronomer, discovered the object independently on January 31st, 1779. So plus or minus a few days in 1779, one of these guys most likely saw this thing first. Pellepoix noted in his journal at the time, "This nebula, to my knowledge, has not yet been noticed by any astronomer. One can only see it with a very good telescope. It is not resembling any of those already known. It has the apparent dimension of Jupiter, is perfectly round and sharply limited. Its dull glow resembles the dark part of the moon before the first and after the last quarter. Meanwhile, the center appears a bit less pale than the remaining part of its surface." Which is a pretty thorough description. Charles Messier noted in his journal on January 31st, 1779, "A cluster of light between Gamma and Beta Lyra, discovered when looking for the comet of 1779, which has passed it very close. It seems that this patch of light, which is round, must be composed of very small stars. With the best telescopes, it is impossible to distinguish them. There stays only a suspicion that they are there." And in fact, the Ring Nebula's alternate name is Messier 57, or M57. But yet another astronomer, William Herschel, noted the nebula in 1780, just 1 year later, saying, "Among the curiosities of the heavens should be placed a nebula that has a regular, concentric dark spot in the middle and is probably a ring of stars." And it goes on and on and on. There are many astronomers who noted this nebula and gave long descriptions of it. I probably read a dozen different accountings of this nebula from astronomers from different countries all throughout the late 18th, early 19th century. And I suppose I probably shouldn't have been surprised, but I kind of was. In 2013, Hubble took a pic of the Ring Nebula, and it looked like this. And this image began to shift astronomers' perspective on cosmic objects like this. Roger Wesson, an astronomer at Cardiff University, said, "Planetary nebulae were once thought of as very simple objects, roughly spherical and with a single star at their center. Hubble showed that they were much more complicated than that, and with these latest images, the James Webb Space Telescope is revealing yet more intricate detail in these objects." The new image highlights even more details of the Ring Nebula, showing, for example, that its gas is not a uniform cloud. Instead, the nebula contains complex structures, including clumps, arcs, spikes, and wisps of gas. The image shows the white dwarf as a pinprick of light at the nebula's center. Radiation from the white dwarf illuminates the nebula, and the different elements in the structure emit different colors. Helium gas, for example, is that glow that's coming from the center of the nebula, and these purple clumps in the ring are hydrogen gas. Now, the goal of all of this is to use Webb's imaging capabilities to help us better understand the dramatic end to these stars' lives, a fate that awaits our own sun billions of years in the future. Unless those solar tsunamis get too out of hand. You guys know what I'm talking about. In July, NASA actually released a video celebrating the 1-year anniversary of Webb's journey out into space. I'll just show a small clip of it here, but it really does a good job highlighting the observations and discoveries that Webb has made in just its first year out among the stars.
This stunning vista of the cosmic cliffs of the Carina Nebula reveals new details about this vast stellar nursery. First of all, of hundreds of new stars that we've never seen before. We see examples of bubbles and cavities and jets that are being blown out by these newborn stars.
See lots of individual stars in there actually resolved as point sources, which is remarkable. And then as we pan across, we actually see the galaxies in the merging galaxies. We now see gas and dust, which is being heated up in the collision between those galaxies.
What you're seeing here is a telltale signature, the chemical fingerprint of water vapor in these atmospheres. There's evidence of clouds and hazes because the water features are not quite as large as we predicted.
That was some extra energetic NASA music. I'll put a link to these NASA Webb images in the description below, as well as the Where is Webb link, so you guys can see exactly where Jimmy is hanging out these days. So yeah, I just wanted to share not only the latest extraordinary Webb images, but also share the interesting history about the Ring Nebula. I mean, I always knew that planets and comets had been observed for hundreds of years, going back to like Copernicus and Galileo, but I guess I just really never thought of things like nebulae being observed that far back. That just seems like next level astronomy, but 250 years ago they were doing next level astronomy. So what do you guys think? Are you surprised that the Ring Nebula was observed that long ago, or not so much? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.